Hi, are you an HR professional, business owner, or hiring manager? Well, I got some great news for you here. I want you to imagine what it would be like to come into work and know that you no longer have to hire, that you no longer have to put a sign out that you have to hire, that every single thing that you need for the ability to attract talent is already in house. When you also imagine a scenario where your retention is through the roof, that people are just not leaving unless you want them to leave. In other words, we're getting some upgrades. I want you to imagine your business right now, your company, with your employees fully engaged. Your engagement is where everything starts. Whether we like to admit it or not, that's where it starts. Is are your employees engaged? Is your staff engaged? One of the greatest indicators that we're able to do, one of the first things that I look at when I ask somebody about their employee engagement, and everybody, no matter who it is, you say, how's your employee engagement? And everybody says the same thing. They say, oh, we think we're doing pretty good where we're at. And then why do they say that? Why does anybody say that? Number one, being honest with you, it's lazy. It's the easiest way to avoid having the real conversation. People don't want to have real conversations about the fact they really don't know. And even if they did know about what their employee engagement is like, it's nowhere near as good as what they think. Number one thing that I like to go to is just ask the simple question is, do you have somebody regularly coming up to you and saying, how can I get promoted? How can I get a promotion? That is the number one indicator. I think back to the days when I worked at a company called Ruby Tuesday. When we were doing openings and I was the corporate new store opening lead trainer for them, I had somebody that would come up to me literally daily and say to me, Chris, how do I get promoted? Everybody completely engaged. Everybody wanted to work more hours. People wanted to stay longer. And they didn't want to stay longer to milk it. They wanted to stay longer because they wanted to actually make a difference. When your people are just coming to you and they're just milking the system, that is not being engaged. You have the people that are looking to cram time into to become more efficient on their own. That is when you have people that are being engaged. I can guarantee you that if I sent out surveys to your company, to your staff, and asked them questions that need to be asked to find out if they're actually engaged, as opposed to what most corporations do is send out emails and surveys that 100% they're just going to take part of, and that people are going to give back the feedback that they're actually looking for, not looking for the feedback that they need. When you send out your own survey, you're going to find because you have designed the survey. A third party is what is always needed because you cannot ask people that are working for you to tell you how much they love working there. It doesn't work that way. And again, when it comes down to what the common things that I see is that HR professionals, hiring managers, and business owners love to go with the easy route and say, well, we already got something like that, or that's what my HR people are for. And sometimes HR people take it as a little bit of as a slap in the face. But the reality of it is, if it is a slap in the face, just because it's true doesn't mean that you have to take it personal. Okay? Maybe you're doing the best you can. Well, here's the thing. As an HR professional, as an HR manager, wouldn't you be doing the right thing to say, hey, you know what? I don't have the answers, but I could get an outside source. And I could get an expert's opinion on what we're doing. This is so critical for your business. You business owners, you HR people and hiring managers need to get a grasp on what's coming down the road. We have to prepare for the fact that we have a silver tsunami that's going to happen, and we're going to have a permanent labor shortage. So we need to really amp up and get people to be engaged with work, that where they're literally doing more than what they're paid for. That's when you have it. Now I know some people say, well, that's taking advantage of them. No, it is not. They're doing it willfully. You're not making them doing it. They are choosing on their own to do more work. What a horrible thing. to have people go, you know what? I love this job so much, I'll work off the clock. Now, we don't want them doing that. We want them getting paid. But that's the point. When I was at Ruby Tuesday, if I could have paid all of my bills, if I could have had them all paid, I would have worked there for free. That is engagement. If you can tell me that over half your staff feels that way, I'll guarantee you, you're lying. We don't see it. We don't see that many numbers. You might have one or two, and chances are they're already a top performer. Chances are they're a manager. But what would it be like? I want you to think here monetarily. What would that look like to have your entire staff with a boost of 60% engagement? And it happens in less than 30 days. But what happens if when the 30 days now goes into 60 and goes into 90 and keeps on growing? Well, now you're not putting out now hiring signs. And if you don't believe that's possible, fully engaged companies are seeing those type of results. You might have heard of these tiny companies like Google, Zappos, and Patagonia. They don't advertise that they're hiring people. Why? They have such engagement. They're people. One example that Google had done is that Gmail came about because of people being totally involved and totally engaged in the business. But how do you get them engaged? Now that's the trick. That's the trick. And just in a few short weeks here, depending on when you see this video, and this is right on the website here, so it might be a little bit dated, but we're going to be looking at within the next 30 days here, because I don't have the calendar in front of me off the top of my head. I'm going to be doing my webinar. And in my webinar, this is going to be an invite only here, but I'm going to go through how to get your people engaged and what is the number one thing that gets missed that makes your employees, the most critical thing that goes to your employees, that affects their daily lives, at work and outside of work, the most critical thing that is constantly missed. And I'll go deep diving into all that stuff. It is going to be a free webinar as of right now. Right now it will be. But this is going to be key. And I'm also going to, before that, I'm going to be putting up the links for my free ebook for you to be able to have something while you're at work to start to implement some things here free of charge. I don't care. I want your people to be engaged. I want your people to be engaged, whether I'm helping them or I'm not. But again, I need to go back to this here. Think about it here. How many of your people are walking around saying, I would stay here and I would work here for free if I could? Just ask that question. See how somebody would respond. And you can't ask it at work because there's some stuff there you don't want to touch. But if you ask anybody outside of their job, go to your next 10 people that you run into that you know in life and just ask them, hey, if all of your bills were paid, would you do your job for free? Ask them that. I would love the feedback. Matter of fact, you could give me the feedback. Just go right onto the website and just fill out the form. It's right on there. Matter of fact, I don't know off the top of my head. I think the form is right over here. If not, here the form is right here, and you can just fill this right out, and it's right onto the website. You can go there. You could also email me at chris@chrisnewpower.com. All right, then it's KRIS@KRISNEUPAUER.com. Remember, your employee engagement, if you're annually seeing the same thing, if there's times, if you see that you are the lunacy that I get to deal with here, and it's going to sound like a complaint, but it's not a complaint. It's such a great opportunity for people to open their minds when they say, well, yeah, every spring we're looking to hire people, and you still haven't figured it out. Your people are not engaged. There's not a buzz about your business. And you need to have your people so engaged that when they go home and they're having, right now we're looking at the beginning of football season, when they're hanging out with their friends, they're not talking and telling them about how great work is. But one of the first questions everybody asks, because it's just a way to get the conversation going, the conversational juices going, people say, so hey, how's work? How's the new job? And that right there, it's not that friend that we're looking to reach. Because that friend probably doesn't do the same thing that you do. It's their friend. That when they go home and they're talking to their spouse or whatever the situation is, and they say, hey, did you hear that, Chris was working at New Power Business Solutions, and they're paying him, it's like whatever, 30, 40, 50 bucks an hour. And they get this, and they get that, and they have this, and they're doing this for them, and they did this for one of the guy, and they did this, and one of the people there did this, like the stories, right? They have the buzz there, and then when they get home and they're actually at their and go to their own barbecues, to their own parties that they host even. And they see somebody that wasn't around in that initial click group that they're at, and they say, when they go, hey, I was just thinking about here, because when I was at watching the ball game just last week, I was talking to Chris, who works at New Power Business Solutions, and he was telling me about like how great the place is. And I mean, the reality of it is, I'm at my job and I have too much seniority. I can't leave it. But I was thinking about how great, like, you should go apply there. You're in the same field, or you've done that stuff before, or I heard you were looking. You don't hear that buzz anymore. And like I said, I can promise you, if you're seeing this video, I can promise you, and if you've got this far, number one, if you got this far, I know you have a concern and we need to help fix it. We're not here to argue with you. If I reach out to you, if you get a phone call from me, I can promise you this, I've already surveyed your company. I've talked to somebody at your business, and they have told me that you guys need us, that they need a solution. So if you've made it this far, number one, again, good on you. You're concerned. You want to fix your engagement issues. You need to reach out. We need to have a conversation. We need to start putting a plan in place. Because let's just take the ego down for a second. What you're doing right now is not giving you the results you want, and that's okay. You're doing the smart thing and going, all right, I can't do it on my own, so I need some help. That's where we come in. So make sure, get more information, scour the site, scour everywhere you need to, chrisnewpower.com/engage. You need to scour the site. You need to get as much information as you can, but most importantly, we need to have a conversation. I can promise you this, that the conversation, number one, I'm not going to charge a thing right now for the conversation. The conversation right now, I'm waiving my $2,000 fee. You do not have to pay for that. You're going to get this right now to the end of the year. You are going to get this for free. Okay, so let's get on the phone. Let's plan a strategy session. Let's start to actually move the ball forward. And again, remember this. What you're doing isn't getting you the results that you want. So on something I suggest, if you're going to give me pushback on it, just don't even give me a call. If you're going to say, well, we've tried that before, you've never tried everything that I'm going to do with you. Okay? We have way more solutions than you could possibly imagine. And just remember this, one counseling session with us, with any of our counselors, and with your people, it is going to change the whole landscape. And your people will actually come up to you and say, thank you for having somebody be here to be actually chat and talk with one of us. I look forward to talking with you here. Reach out to me again. It's Chris Newpower. Remember, I'm the guy. I'll fix all employee engagement, retention, and attraction issues, and we can most of the time do it no costs to a company. So reach out to us. I look forward to the conversation. Be great.